everyone. It's Vanessa Zamora. We're here at PubCon Dallas 2010, and joining me now is Rebecca Murtagh of Karner Blue Marketing. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Vanessa. Thanks for having me.
Yes, you're welcome. So let's talk real-time search. This is like the new kid on the block. What's going on there? How do marketers adapt to this?
Very exciting. The frontier is changing so quickly. It's really, for me, a veteran marketer, I'm very excited because having a search engine optimization background and then entering social and doing all the testing, we can kind of see things developing before they're revealed. So understanding now the real-time possibilities for brand and customers and even people that are just promoting themselves or an idea, it really opens up to a new dialogue. So now you're actually able to talk to people on a one-to-one basis. And as a marketer, this has never happened at this level. So it changes quickly, so it requires a lot of diligence, but it does pay off.
Let's step back one step. How would you define it, real-time search?
Real-time search, real-time social media and search. Well, basically anything that can appear in the search engine results. We really always focus on page one because that's where most of the clicks occur, as we know. And now what the algorithms, especially Google, have done is make social media profiles and now updates available to keyword queries and as a result. So they're showing up in results for brands, for conversations, and local search for coupons. Just about anything you can imagine is wide open. So if you have a business, you need to be thinking about it. And if you haven't already gotten there, you really need to start putting a strategy together.
Okay. So what would, give us an example of what a strategy would look like? Maybe if you can share one of your clients or just in general, you can pretend.
Well, we have to pretend. I don't share anything about my clients, but actually what we have found, and I can talk generally about what we have found to be successful for our clients, is that typically one of the things that folks forget about social media and search is that there's a human being behind the device. So whether they're searching from the internet or from their mobile device or whatever it is, they're good at kind of throwing things out there, but they're forgetting that keyword optimization is actually how people are going to find them in those Google search results. So you have to balance the social media interaction with the optimization. You marry the two, you build a good foundation in the optimization with social media optimization, and then you can complement it with the social conversation that entices the user, makes them become an advocate or an enthusiast or even an evangelist, and then they start sharing you about what you're doing with their social networks. So it becomes viral, but the key is getting in front of them in the first place.
What tips do you have for people, assuming that there is a strategy in place for gaining followers in something that's not very fabulous?
Well, anything is fabulous when you're talking to the right customers or the right audience. So you really have to understand who you're speaking to, and that's how you build your strategy. You really don't forget about trying to get millions of followers, fans, and friends. Really focus on the folks that you know. Create the profile of your ideal customer, and then start speaking to them, and they will find you, and their friends will find you. So you start building spheres of influence between those audiences, and that's how you grow influence in the right audiences. So you can do that. It can be done local. It's very effective for local businesses. It's a very because it's a smaller scale typically, they're not trying to compete in a national marketplace. They're very successful when they strategically approach it and have conversation with their audiences, and their audiences are very generous because they're the right people. They're very generous in advocating for them.
Awesome. And how do you find those people?
That's the $20 million question. Well, one person here said, basically look for someone that's in your list that looks like your ideal customer and start friending their friends. You can do that on Facebook. I find Twitter to be a little easier to do that on because you can actually be a little more proactive, and there's not as much of a personal opt-in from your audience. Once you build that audience on Twitter, it's very easy to introduce them to a Facebook page, I believe, rather than the other way around, because the volume can grow much faster and you can actually get some momentum going and feel that you're really driving traffic.
Okay. Well, thanks for your time, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Excellent. Oh, absolutely. Anytime.